Do your piano chords sound a little plain? Well, I've got some good news. If you know your basic chords, you can very easily play them in a much more lush and beautiful sounding way. I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to make major chords, dominant chords, and minor chords sound beautiful, and just by adding one simple note to each of these chords. Once you know these simple notes to add, you can also use that to create accompaniment patterns, simple melodies, and just beautiful harmonies that'll make your playing go from plain to elegant. So for the most part, you're going to come across 3 different kinds of chords. You're going to come across a major chord, a minor chord, or a dominant chord. And these 3 chords make up 90% of the music you'll play. A major chord is constructed with a major third and then a minor third stacked on top of it. So if we go to C and we play a C chord, the first 2 notes of the C chord, C and E, are a major third apart. And so a major third is 4 half steps. A half step is if you were to play a note to note where there's no note in between. That's a half step. And a major third is 4 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. That gets you a major third. And then a minor third stacked on top of that. So a minor third is 3 half steps. 1, 2, 3. And that's how you get a major chord. A major third on the bottom and then a minor third on the top. That's a major chord. And the way you can elevate any major chord, anytime you see a major chord, whether it's in a hymn or a chord sheet or an accompaniment, add the 2 to the chord, also called the 9. So it's called the 9 because if you were to build a chord in thirds, we call the chord tones numbers. The C is the 1, the E is the 3, the G is the 5, and then we continue that pattern where we just play every other note, and we continue to build the chord up. This would be the 7th, 9, 11, and 13. So these are what's called the upper extensions of the chord. So you've got the C chord, the 1, 3, and 5, and then these notes are the upper extensions. And this one is called the 9. Also sometimes just called the add 2. So the way you can figure this out in any key and for any chord is just play your chord in root position. That means in thirds, the major third and the minor third. And play it in that position. And then just play the note a whole step up from the root, and it's also a whole step under the third. So a half step, if you remember, is no note in between, note to note. These are half steps. So a whole step would be 1 note in between. And so this is a whole step. And anytime you play a note and have a note in between, that's a whole step. Those are all whole steps. So what we're going to do is we're going to play our chord in root position and then play the note that's a whole step above the root. There's the root, there's the 9, or the add 2. Now chords can be inverted, and so it's good to recognize this in other inversions. So if we take the C chord and we rearrange the notes so the C is up here, this is first inversion. And we can do that again, take this E and put it up here, and that's second inversion. If we do the same thing again, take the G and put it up here, we're back to the root position. Root, first inversion, second inversion, root. So you want to be able to play this in those inversions as well. And then now that we've added the 9, we now have a 4-note chord. And so we have enough notes in the right hand to create a flowing pattern. We also have enough notes in the right hand to create simple melodies. And this can work on, again, anytime you see a major chord. Just find the chord in root position and play the note above the root. And it'll give you that beautiful add 9 chord. Experiment with this chord as well. Try playing it by leaving the certain notes out, or playing it in a more spread out way. So I could take and play the chord and leave the E out. Say I'm playing the C add 2. I can leave the E out and see how I like that sound. And I can change the position of that. There's all kinds of possibilities to utilize this with just those 4 notes, and it makes any major chord really shine. The next chord that you're going to come across is a minor chord. So a minor chord is just the opposite of a major chord. It's got the minor third on the bottom, and then it's got the major third above that. So it's a stack of a minor third, which again is 3 half steps, 1, 2, 3. Then a major third above that, which is 4 half steps, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is how we build an A minor chord, A, C, E. And so the chord, the note that you can add to any minor chord to make it really shine and sound beautiful is the 11, or also called the add 4. And so if you take the same pattern and build the chord out like we did the C chord, and I showed you the extensions, you can do the same thing with the minor chord. Here's the 1, which is also the root of the chord, 3, and then 5. So that would make this the 7, 9, 11, and 13. So take the 11, or also called the 4, and add it to your minor chord. And so for the key, for A minor, it's a D. That's the 11. That's the add 4. This is a beautiful way to play a minor chord. Now the same thing applies to this chord as the major add 2. You can now invert the A minor chord to its other inversions and use the 11 in those inversions as well. And then also use these 4 notes. We now have a 4-note chord, the 1, 3, 4, and 5. We can use these to play flowing patterns for accompaniment, or to improvise melodies, or just to make the harmony sound better. Also experiment with different patterns, leaving some notes out or playing them in a more spread out way. And lastly, I want to talk about a dominant chord. So a dominant chord is actually a 4-note chord already. So let's go back to the C chord and let's understand how to build a dominant chord. A dominant chord is a major chord but with a 7th, and the 7th is actually flattened. It's a major chord with a flattened 7th added to it. So let's go back and build a C major. So we've got our major third and then our minor third. So we've got a major chord here. And then if we were to play, if we were to go to those extensions again, we got 7, 9, 11, and 13. So the dominant has to do, when we say dominant, it has to do with this note right here, the 7th of the chord. So when the 7th is a half step below the root, we call that a major 7th. And it fits within the key of C. The key of C is all white notes. And so this is where the 7th would naturally be in the key of C. But when the 7th is a whole note below the root, it's a dominant 7th. It's a major chord, and we've taken that 7th note and flattened it. And so that's what gives it this dominant quality. And this is a very important chord in harmony, in functional, directional harmony. This chord is what drives the resolution. The 5 chord leads to the 1 chord. And so if we're in the key of F, this would be the 5 chord. So the key of F, this is the F chord. The 5 of the F is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the C chord. That leads to the 1 chord. And so that C in the key of F wants to resolve to the F. And when we add that flat 7 to it, we now have a more dissonant chord. It's got a dissonant quality that wants to resolve to the 1 chord. So it's a very important chord. There's all kinds of ways to color the 5 chord and make that 5-to-1 resolution even more dramatic and more satisfying. But the note we add to a dominant chord, it's actually 2 notes I'm going to show you how to add. It's the 9 and the 13. So we go back to that C7 chord and let's build it out to those extensions that I showed you earlier. We've got 1, 3, 5, flat 7. Here's the 9, 11, and the 13. These are the extensions. We're going to use the 9 and the 13 in this dominant chord. Now, if I were to just play the dominant chord with those notes in it, you probably wouldn't like the sound of it at all. It doesn't sound great when played that way. So this is where it's important to voice the chord in a certain way to really get the full effect of these colors in the chord. When I just play them all real close like this, everything's real close together and some of the notes are clashing with the others. But if we spread them out in a tasteful way, this chord is really beautiful. So the way we want to do this is use the left hand to play the root. And we're not going to play the root in the right hand. This is called a rootless voicing in the right hand. And so start with the flat 7. Put your thumb on the flat 7. Then play the 9 next. So that would be B flat and D. And then play the 3rd and then the 13. So we've got these are the original notes of the chord. We're going to leave these 2 out. We're actually kind of substituting them for these 2. So what we've got is this really great way to play a dominant chord in the right hand, 7, 9, 3, 13. 7, 9, 3, 13. It's just a beautiful chord, especially when we've got that dissonance leading to the 1 chord. And what's great about this is that many melodies they step down to the root. So many songs end like that. Like What a Friend We Have in Jesus. So we go, everything. There's the melody right there. And it's over this C. It's a great opportunity to go, everything to God in prayer. That's a great way to put it. Jesus Loves Me ends like this. So we're stepping down. So many songs end that way. Just step down into the root. And so that we can play an F chord to a C chord to the root. Or we can take that opportunity when it steps down and play that right there. If you'll do this with your dominant chords, it'll make them sound sophisticated. It's a professional way to play any dominant chord. And it may be a little more challenging to figure this one out, especially in other keys. You can take what you just saw me do and play that voicing very easily. But what about like the B flat chord, the B flat dominant chord? How do we find this in that chord? Well, just use the same formula. We're going to use the B flat dominant 7th. And then here's the 9, 11, and 13. So we're going to use these 2 notes to color our dominant chord, the 9 and the 13. And then we're going to play in the right hand the 7, 9, 3, 13. And at first, it will be a little overwhelming to think of all these numbers. But if you keep practicing that, you'll get familiar with these in all the different keys. So there's 3 simple ways that you can take your ordinary, common, kind of boring sounding chords and elevate them, make them sound a lot better. Get familiar with these and all the other keys, and this will help your playing so much. If you enjoyed this lesson, hit the like button right now and subscribe to this channel for more lessons just like this. Also, if you're a church pianist and these kind of lessons help you, I encourage you to share them with other church pianists that you think might benefit from things like this. When I was learning to play in church, I would have loved to have resources like YouTube, where I could have gotten so much education and learned so much for free online. So share this with somebody you think could benefit from it, and leave me a comment with what you'd like to learn next. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.